Hello. I'm guessing if you clicked on this video that you love bookstores and travel trips and little excursions for thrifting and, and reselling. You might hear little pitter patters of my dog Stella in the background. And right now I have a curious cat peeking around the top of my video. So if you see a little face, that's my cat Bentley. So you never know who might join us. Bentley might join us, Grimmy Girl might join us, and Stella might join us at any time. You might hear one or more of them going on in the background. Anyway, I just wanted to make a quick intro video to introduce you to the visit I took at Intermission Bookstore. And let's not delay, let's get going. I hope you enjoy it. Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Hi,
so
thank you.
glad you're here. We like to share the history of the building because it's kind of fun, and what good is a bookstore that can't tell you a story?
Absolutely.
And of course, stories are better when you have pictures. The building itself dates back to the late 1800s, but this particular picture we believe was taken somewhere in the mid 1930s. So that'd be approximately 90 years ago.
Wow.
And back then, this was the Queen Theater. So that's where we get Intermission as the name of the bookshop. It's because it used to be a movie theater.
Get really close into that. I don't know if I can see. Yeah, there we go.
So what surprises a lot of people is when they learn that the Queen was one of 7 theaters just on this street.
We saw the lyric
One of
right
12
down.
downtown. The Lyric is now a performance theater.
Oh,
although
cool.
it did used to be a movie theater. But the reason for so many theaters is that, you have to remember, this is the 30s and the 40s. Nobody's going to have television in their homes until the 50s. And then on top of that, starting around 1939, but definitely from 41 to 45, we had over 250,000 men go through training out at Camp Bowie for World War II. Now, little old Brownwood can't have 250,000 anything come through town and it not leave a mark. And the men definitely left their mark on the town.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
So what happened to the theater in the late 50s, it ended up being gutted. And so by the early 60s, the people who owned it then were trying to turn this into a retail space. So they did marvelous things like put in a low drop ceiling, shag carpeting, lime green paneling, so that when Kim and her husband buy the building in 2019, they really want to remodel. So what they ended up doing is taking all of that out, and they discovered that mark I told you about. Right up here on the wall, you can see where the old theater seats used to touch up against the wall.
Yeah.
And those circles are from where
Look, that looks like
soldiers-
there's a body right up
Yes,
there.
it is. You can see the seat,
Uh-huh.
and then that's where his head was.
Yeah.
He would rest his head against the wall and
Wow.
sleep during the movie. The product that they used to slick their hair back with, because that was the style back then.
crazy.
That's what ended up leaving the circles. And of course, it would take more than one man to do it.
Yeah.
But that's how they ended
is
up leaving that
amazing.
impression. And so when they found that, they didn't want to cover it back up because they thought it was kind of cool. And so that's why they left some of the building
How
open.
do they figure out how do you figure that out? They test it or?
No, it's just other people, they come in and
So
share
you
stories.
just- once
I've
you
had
said
people
the
who grew
seats,
up coming
I could
in.
see the heads. It's
Yeah.
just like, and it's,
They're much stronger on this side than there are
Oh,
on
yeah.
that side as well, because a lady gave me an idea that it was probably more right-handed people who wanted to
Oh,
sleep
you
this
were-
way, as opposed to left-handed people sleeping the other way.
Right.
And so it kind of makes sense that this side would
That
be a little
is
bit
too
darker.
funny.
But since that was so cool and they didn't want to cover it up, they decided to leave the building open so it could kind of tell you its own story.
yeah.
And if you look up, you'll notice that story has to do with fire. You might remember from a U.S. history or government class when they talk about your First Amendment rights, the one thing you can't say, which is yell fire in a crowded theater,
right.
if it's not true. If it's true, you can yell it, but you're not supposed to do that.
I don't think I ever knew that you couldn't say fire.
When there's not one,
Yeah.
because if people are if there's a stampede.
I remember that you don't want to cause chaos or panic.
Right, because if people get hurt in the panic, you can
Right.
be charged with that.
Wow.
Especially if they die.
Learning something new about our
manslaughter.
Constitution. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
I won't tell you how old I am before I knew that. That's embarrassing.
Well, sometimes you need a little refresher course.
Yeah, maybe I did. That's probably what it was.
Because you don't realize this is where that example came from, and why it was so common. Because everybody's smoking like a chimney.
Oh, right.
And then of course you got all the draperies in it for the acoustic effects. Now, if you're falling asleep with the cigarette, you might be causing some problems. And you can also tell here from our picture that we used to have windows. But if you'll notice, there's no windows up there now. And the brick doesn't match on either side, and straight up it's really blackened. So, that was probably one of those files. And since I believe this is where the projection room was, because it was a long, sort of skinny.
No, there's no windows up there where there used to be.
You don't really need windows in the projection room. You don't want to backlight the projector.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Another thing that's kind of fun, because of the fires, the young man who would be watching the film wasn't to leave the film unattended. Because, like I said, talking about all this stuff in the fire, even the film was flammable.
Right.
And if it touched a hot bull, it could melt the film and
now that I know.
catch
Those
fire.
were common fires.
So if you had a bathroom nearby, you start looking at the wall here where it's painted green and it turns white, and you can see the rock and it turns kind of pinkish. It's blue with the white slash. Blue again, and then where it turns pale blue, you'll notice a toilet brush hanging from the wall.
Yeah. Oh my
And so when
goodness.
the contractors found that, nobody wanted to touch it. So they decided it was historical and it could stay.
I love it.
That's hilarious.
This is too fun.
So really quickly, I'll just explain how the building is set up so you can find what you like.
Okay.
Right up front, we have a section of local ties, Brownwood, Brown County, and surrounding area. I get a lot of questions like, why do you have Old Yeller up here?
I was just thinking that.
Well, it was written in and set in Mason County. Fred Gibson is from Mason County.
Oh.
And so that's just an hour down the road.
Okay.
That's why it's here.
Makes me cry.
And of course, we have different authors or characters from this area as well. We got everything from Baptist University presidents to strippers, so there's a little bit of everything for anybody.
Just like the rest of
Then we have collectibles. Upstairs is the nonfiction.
Okay.
Through the book arch is all the
Yeah,
fiction.
that's what I want to
You'll
get.
find these little plaques. They'll tell you if you're looking at romance or young adult and kind of help orient you around. Right now we're set up for fall here, kid stuff in the window, adult stuff on the inside. We're calling this, I guess, adult Halloween. It's not romances. We managed to slip in some classics and some thrillers and mysteries and stuff. We have the children's Halloween. We even have the brand new Stephen King Hansel and Gretel with Maurice Sendak is the illustrator. He's the one who did the illustrations for Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah.
Now, of course, what gets us a lot of attention
I
on
didn't know he
social
did that
media
one.
is the Now, what happened is when the bookstore opened, it was August of 2020. It's the height of COVID, and the bookstore cannot order a new book. Publishers don't have anybody in a warehouse to pack up orders, so they're not taking any. Fortunately, everybody else was at home purging. And so there were plenty of used books to open the store with. Now we're a mix of new and used all through the store, but these books were all badly damaged. So what they did is they drilled a hole right through the center of each one, and then they're threaded on metal pipe, and that's what creates the arch. You can even see a little bit of it right here where the pipe sticks through, and so you can kind of, since these were damaged and not resellable, they hated to just throw them away.
I gotta figure out how
So
to.
this was a way to have a little more fun with
Oh
it.
yeah.
I know, it's fun. A lot of older people come through and tell grandchildren and grandchildren, this is what the internet used to look like.
There you go.
Right
yes,
there.
yes. Where I live.
Encyclopedia
I actually tried to sell those when I was younger. Somebody taught me I was going to make a lot of money. I ended up wanting to read them more than sell them.
Well, they're heavy when you have to carry them door to door.
Well, I'll have to bring you one of my published books.
But please enjoy and explore.
Thank you
If
so
you find
much.
anything, just let us know.
Okay, thank you. It is so much fun. This is a little bookstore in Brownwood, Texas, and it is got full of history and full of books. So what did you think of the Intermission Bookstore? it has so much history, the World War II story she told about it. I will tell you, I learned so much about what not to do while filming. That was the first time I had ever done that. And it was a learning curve. So I was so loud at times. I didn't realize how my voice carried in that building. So I have to monitor myself. Anyway, I hope to get better as I go. If you liked it, leave a comment. I would love to hear what you thought. And if you have suggestions on how I could do it better, hey, I'm open to suggestions. Anyway, thanks for visiting today. And if you would like to know more about the things that I do, there's other videos about reselling with AI, and I have a lot of ideas about that subject. More to come. Again, have a blessed day. Thanks again. Bye.